This is the first time these women have been back to the infamous Department of Political and Social Order, an appropriately Orwellian title for a place where hundreds of people were imprisoned and tortured in the 1970s. This was the women's section. I remember this narrow corridor, says one. Others are left without words when confronted with such raw reminders of what they went through. Nearly 3 decades after the return of democracy, only now, in the form of a National Truth Commission, is Brazil confronting its turbulent past. In these very cells, women, opponents of the regime and dissidents, were held often repeatedly during the years of the dictatorship. They were also tortured here. And despite the work of this commission, all of them say it simply doesn't go far enough. A former teacher and student activist, Jane Alencar, was held and tortured here 3 times before she was 21. She says the perpetrators must be held to account.
There's a feeling of impunity in Brazil that I think is one of the root causes of all the violence here. No one has been held accountable for the violent and horrible things that happened during the dictatorship. They've still not been punished.
Brazil was one of several Latin American nations where the military overthrew democratic governments in the 1960s and 70s, countering what it described as the threat of a communist insurgency. Over the next 21 years, hundreds were killed and thousands were tortured, among them Brazil's current president, Dilma Rousseff. Former members of the military reject accusations that torture was commonplace, an official government policy.
I have to insist on this point. There was torture on our side. It wasn't institutionalized torture, but isolated cases. But there were also cases on the other side. Terrorism, revoking the amnesty law, will not bring reconciliation to the country.
But earlier this year, a former colonel, Paulo Malhais, told the commission that he tortured and killed many victims. Malhais, who has since died, also gave specific details about training on torture techniques that he and others received in the United Kingdom. More than 400 people were killed under the military dictatorship. Despite Brazil's controversial amnesty law, the families of the dead and missing hope this commission will provide the impetus to bring the perpetrators to justice. Woodrow Davis, BBC News, Rio de Janeiro.